Okay, so podcast number one. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I just know that I've had a lot on my mind and I want to get it out. So I'm making this to get rid of some thoughts, see what other people think. Um, for starters, I've been researching and trying to figure this out for like an hour, which is way too long. And I still don't know, because I'm recording in iMovie, if this is even going to let me go past 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But we'll start anyways. Alright, so Monday morning in my Lang class, Mr. Silva came in and dropped a note off to me. And it said the superintendent was coming to Creek and he wanted me and 14 other students to talk to them about the culture and the climate and what Creek looks like from a kid's point of view. Which is a cool opportunity, and I'm glad that he picked me. I know, shout out to me, I'm fucking cool. Mr. Silva knows me. But I don't really know how I'm supposed to respond to questions like that. He said that she was going to ask us questions like, have you ever felt unsafe at school? What's it like being a student at Creek? And I don't know if I'm supposed to answer the right way or the honest way, or both, because the right way, I love Creek. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life, and things are going well, but at the same time, no matter where you go, high school is shitty. That's just kind of how life goes. People are mean and rude because they've been broken down, they don't have support systems. And this safety aspect kind of made me cringe because I feel unsafe at school all the time. Like, I don't know if some kid is going to pull out a gun and start shooting people up. I don't know that. But you just have to keep living your life, you know what I mean? Like, we just live in a world now where that's common and that could happen. So when she asks me, do you feel safe? Am I supposed to respond, not really? I mean, after the amount of school shootings, I don't think any kid is safe. I think everybody has the opportunity to be in danger at school. And these fucking IDs, as much as, like, they're trying, they don't do anything, you know what I mean? Like, half the time kids don't even have their IDs on. And almost like 98% of school shooters are kids that go to the school. Why the fuck would somebody show up to shoot up a school and not be wearing their ID? Like, that doesn't make sense. And most kids, like, just forget to put on their ID, and are they automatically a security risk? Like, what does that mean for Creek? To be honest, their security is kind of shit. I had a picture of Neil Patrick Harris on my ID for, well, this entire year until today. Nobody noticed, and I've had face-to-face conversations with teachers and security guards and administrators and all that, and none of them noticed that I had somebody else's face on my ID. Technically, this is clip number 2. After that last I went back and I saw if I could re-enter the picture that I was using, and I can, which is dope. So this was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, because I can just take this video that I'm voiceovering with the picture that's going to play for however long I record for, and put that on YouTube and then send that link to people. So that's kind of dope. I asked like some people about if I should do this, and I got mostly good responses, but it made me wonder, like, is it validation that I'm looking for? I'm doing this podcast for myself, to be able to talk out some of the nonsense that happens in our world, some of the crazy things that I see or whatever. And the idea that I had to ask people to see if I should do it kind of seems strange. But nevertheless, we're recording number 1, getting it in. The other thing that I thought about today, because of an essay that we had to write in English class, the prompt basically was Thomas Paine talking about how great America was and how it was so diverse, and how we're the only nation that can be so diverse and still come together based on society and government ruling and human rights. That we, what was the last sentence? It was something like, we have no fear because, no riots and no triumphs, because there's nothing to do that for. There's nothing that we need to riot against. But that kind of seems like ridiculous, because our country is literally falling apart. Like, we don't even have a fucking government right now. The government is shut down because crybaby Trump wants his fucking wall and funding for it, and the Democrats don't want to give it to him. So, what was the number? It was like 800,000 people that work for the government didn't get paid yesterday. So basically, our government not only is putting people's salaries on the line in a standoff, but they're not even bringing us together. They're literally tearing us apart. They're putting a wall so that people can't get into our country, which is literally like the whole idea of the American dream, which pisses me off so much. Like, I wish I lived when America was like that great nation, because that's not what we're living in. People blame their problems on Mexicans and Muslims. There's a ban on Muslims in airports. Like, your problems are not from these people. Get the fuck over it. Figure out your own life, you know what I mean? And Trump's saying it's about, like, keeping drugs outside of our country, but I've done some research on it, and the cocaine and, like, the drugs that get smuggled into the United States is enough that if it weren't happening, the economy would kind of go to shit. Not like a lot, but a little. Which is already happening because of this government shutdown. It's already down 10 points. So, where do we get to say, excuse me, what the fuck, guys? Like, where is the justice and the government that you promised. Like, that seems so insane that they can literally shut it down. It's literally fucking blackmail. Like, they're shutting it down until one side decides to go with the other. And if we do that, doesn't that make it so that any time somebody wants something in politics, like the president, that he can just shut the government down and say, I'll wait until you guys decide that you're giving it to me? And I'm not naive to the fact that people do smuggle in cocaine, and like, that's horrible. And some people that come from Mexico, some people that come from Islam or wherever, they are trying to do harm, but for the most part, a lot of those people are the smart ones, the ones that are trying to get out of Mexico and build a new life, the ones that could afford to travel all the way here and get a job, which is so, like, the idea that it's only the bad people that are coming from the countries. And that's going to be the problem, is these people are coming in, they're good people, they want to follow the American dream, they want to make money, have a happy, successful life, and then somebody, like, spits in their face and says, because of who you are, you're a bad person, we don't want you here. And right there is going to cause that person that was a good person and just wanted to follow the American dream to now be violent. Does that make sense? Like, it's like a chain reaction. Because it's exactly how bullying goes in school. A bully is always somebody that got bullied, and he's just pushing it on his victim. He's got problems at his house, and all that negative energy he has got to throw onto somebody else, which is fucked up. You know what I mean? And energy can't die. I think that's like a chemistry thing. But we can always turn positive energy into, or negative energy into positive energy. And so I just think if we were kinder to each other, if we said nicer things, that the people you were nice to will now go and be nice to others. And that's what's so frustrating, is that's not how it's going. That's not how our generation works. We just like shit on each other for ridiculous things, and then wonder why so many kids are anxious and depressed and sad. Like, everyone's seeking validation, everyone's seeking compliments and love, but instead they're not getting that, and now it's creating so many problems, and nobody wants to talk about that, which is so frustrating. Like, going back to this superintendent lady, she's gonna ask, like, what's negative about Creek? Who gives a fuck what's negative about Creek? Nobody is going to start being positive because we put a banner on a wall, because we say, let's do healthy activities. You have to have a genuine human connection, talking to somebody, for any change to happen. And that human connection, it always has to be positive. And the difficult part about that sentence that I just said is that sometimes life just doesn't go well. Life is negative. Shit happens. And when you go and talk to somebody, you're going to tell them about all the negative things. But if we use that in the right way, if we say, my day was shit, but I'm just going to get it out and talk about it and move on. Or, I'm super angry. People do this all the time. They take up all their pent-up aggression and they turn it into something positive, like going and exercising. Sometimes when I'm pissed, like somebody did me wrong, it was just a bad day, bad grade, and I have all this negative energy, I just push all that into something more positive like exercise. But you can't tell that to kids. Mass distribution of ways to get better does not work. You have to be one-on-one. You have to, because everybody is a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? For one person, if you said, go on a run, they'd shit their pants. They would rather make a painting about their day. And like, the painting is a metaphor for all the bad things and turning a new leaf or whatever the fuck. So everybody has to be different. And unless a kid feels individualized and important, he's not going to change. She's not going to change. Which is just so frustrating. Like, how are we so naive to the fact that that's what everybody's seeking? Is just talking to somebody else. Like, that's basically how social media got started. It was people trying to connect with other people. And now it's this, like, fucked up, toxic mass distribution of ridiculous things. Like, most of the time, and I've seen this happen, I see it happen all the time. These girls scroll through Instagram and they're like, oh, my body doesn't look like that. Oh, why aren't I on vacation in Mexico? This comparison, this like toxic energy, it makes them feel bad about themselves. But in reality, that person that's on vacation in Mexico, their parents are fighting. They're sick. They're anxious all the time. They're really not having a good time in Mexico, but they're just outsourcing it onto social media. They're only putting the picture perfect part of their lives for people to see. And I'm not one for posting like, oh, I had a shit day. I don't even have social media, but you shouldn't do that either. If you had a bad day, don't post it on Instagram. Go and tell somebody. But it shouldn't be a contest. You know what I mean? Like, you can put positive things on your Instagram. That's cool with me. I like that idea. It's just putting good things on your Instagram. Pictures that you like. Good moments in your life. But you can't wonder why you feel ashamed about not having, like, big money or the right body or whatever the fuck you're concerned about. That's got to come from within. Which is so difficult, where that line crosses between human connection and self-esteem. Because somebody can compliment you all you want, and I've seen this. I've seen this happen. I live it every day, where you give somebody a compliment, but that doesn't satisfy them. That human connection does not satisfy them. It's self-esteem that people need, and the only way to get that is to actually, like, Fucking hang out with yourself. Think. Talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can somebody say, I love myself, without truly knowing who they are? That just seems kind of ridiculous to me. So, if you're looking for self-esteem, it's self-esteem, it's self. You. Don't look outside of you, look inside of you. Be honest with yourself. Say, oh, I kind of like my fucking earlobes, and ain't nobody else gonna tell me that, and I don't need anybody else to tell me that, but I like my earlobes, so fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, that's the weirdest thing to like about yourself, but who cares? It's just you. Like whatever you want. Just be yourself. Which gets me to my next point, honestly, is like, I think life is all about getting to who you truly are. And whoever that is, every experience in your life should be a lesson or something getting you closer to that point of who you truly are. So, when people hide from who they truly are is when things go badly. Like, people that hide behind alcohol and all that shit. And honestly, I don't want to bash on anybody. Go drink, smoke, have a good time, whatever. But do it for the right reasons. If you're doing it because you're hiding from who you truly are, because you don't like your life, you're hiding from your feelings, that's the wrong way to do it. If you're doing it to have an experience, like just have a life experience, have a good time, that's good. So anything in life should be that way too. It should be not what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Like, in the educational system, it shouldn't be about what classes you're taking. It should just be about where they're getting you and why you're taking them. Because the idea of it is to make us well-rounded students so that we know what we want to do going into college. So just taking that class and seeing if you like it is why you're taking the class. It's not about if you get a good grade or anything like that. It's just figuring out who you are and what you like. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to be a math teacher at Creek, which is super fucking dope. I'm going to have a cart that has fun pens and candy, and on the front it's going to have a poster that says, "My cart of awesomeness." I'm going to take it from class to class. Like, it's just going to be so cool. But this is another thing that's been on my mind for so long, is college. Before I can be a math teacher, I have to go to college, which means I have to pick what college I'm going to and my life plan. I don't know. Like, right now, I want to play lacrosse in college. But if you asked me that a month ago, I would have said no. If you asked me what I wanted to be a year ago, I would have said an architect. If you asked me what I wanted to be at the beginning of the school year, I would have said I wanted to go into business. But now I'm settling on being a math teacher and playing lacrosse in college. And the reason I'm going back and forth with this is based on how my life is going at a certain moment. For a long time, I felt like the only reason I didn't want to play college lacrosse is because I felt forced into it. I thought that it would make my dad happy if I went and played collegiate level lacrosse. But in reality, it didn't matter about what he wants, it matters about what I want. Which is why I think my life calling is to be a parent. Like, honestly, if you've ever met me, I'm a dad, for sure. But it's so scary being a parent, because based on how you raise your child is how they're gonna be in the world. Which is exactly, like, it plays exactly into the whole social media, bullying, all that shit. Like, however your parents raise you, did they raise you strictly? Were they nice to you? Did they let you have some room to run? Those things is how your kid will grow up to be. Like, the parents that are so strict, their kids end up being these outcasted people because they didn't get that, like, emotional aspect of life from their parents, because their parents were so busy enforcing the rules. And as soon as you put so many rules on a kid, all they want to do is break them. Like, if I tell somebody, don't touch that, what do you want to do immediately? Fucking touch it, because that's just how it works. Alright. Next topic. Adventure. I'm leading an adventure class. Outdoor adventure. And it's a 6-person leader team, which is not common. Most of the time, it's like 2, 3, and pushing it at 4. But we're a 6-person leader team, so every time we say that to other leaders in the program, they're like, oof, which I don't really understand. I don't understand why everyone's so scared to have a 6-person leader team. But, with that being said, being on a leader team with 5 other people can be frustrating. Today, this girl was doing a facilitation, or basically what they are is like leading the class. You play a game, and you're the one that tells the instructions and runs the game, which is a lot more difficult than people think it is. But she did a terrible job. She was quiet. She didn't have any energy, so the kids didn't have any energy. I can't remember what the game was, but it was just like nobody cared, because it didn't seem like she cared. So, for me, no matter what, I'm gonna have a shit ton of energy when I lead, when I do facilitations. Which I think is good, but the part that I'm anxious about is the idea that I don't know as much as the other leaders do. Like, the last time I was in an adventure class before this one was a full year ago. Second semester, sophomore year. So I haven't been in the program, I haven't been up to date with my knots and like all that shit. But I still want to do it. And so, even if it takes me working my butt off to learn that stuff, I'll do it so that I can be a good leader with energy. That's the only thing. If you've ever been in an adventure class, you know that when one person has energy, so many other people attract that energy. Oh my gosh, we're coming full circle, guys. I was talking about positive and negative energy earlier and how that affects, like, people. Like, when you put negative energy onto somebody, they feel like they need to put negative energy onto somebody else. But now we're coming full circle with that. The energy will be consistent. It will never die. As soon as you put energy out into the universe, it's going to get picked up. Which is something that I think a lot of people don't realize. That whatever you want to get out of life, you have to put that into it. Whatever you want to get out of sports, school, whatever it may be, you got to put that into it in order to get that out of it. So, for so many people, they're like, I want to get good grades, but they just like, fuck off, don't do their homework, and they wonder why they don't get good grades. If you want to be successful, put in the energy that it takes to get out what you wanted. For example, right now is preseason for lacrosse. So it's literally just conditioning. We either lift weights or run. And you run, and it sucks. It's literally like hell. Your mind goes to this dark spot and you just want to give up. But the whole idea of it is to get there so that during season, you're prepared for a good season. You don't have to worry about if you can run. You just have to worry about making the right plays. Which brings me to my next point. Dude, this is so helpful. Talking out loud and like getting everything out is so helpful, because every time I think that I'm like slowing down and think that I might not have anything else to talk about, whatever I was talking about reminds me of something else. So, lacrosse. I love lacrosse. It's a great game. I feel good when I'm playing well. But I'm nervous for Creek season. For starters, I've been playing attack in California and on my club team. And so I haven't been playing midi, which is what I play at Creek. So I'm a little bit not used to it. And secondly, last year, I played like the first 4 games, second line, and then I sat bench for the rest of the season. So this year, I'm really trying to be on that first or second line, but I'm worried about whether or not I'm going to be good enough. And I know that I've put in a lot of work, but that has to be displayed on the field. I have to make things happen. I have to score goals, play good defense. Okay, so this is making me laugh a little bit. If I ever get to a stale point where I don't know what else to say, I can just stop the recording and then add a recording right on the end of that last one. And you guys are completely unaware that I stopped talking. And then I had to think for a second. So I've been starting a journal, which is kind of sus, but it's been helpful. And I think the reason that I wanted to start doing this is that the journal was good, but I can't move my hand fast enough to replicate my thoughts. And writing it down doesn't do as much as hearing it come out of my mouth. This is so healthy. Oh, I love it. Like, I think more people should do this. Probably nobody's going to listen to this. And if you got to this point, text me and tell me the code word outside and in, or what's a good one? Apricots. Yeah, apricots. Text me apricots if you got to this section. And if you're enjoying it. So the reason that I named this Honesty Inside and Out is because I want to make these my real thoughts. I don't want it to be tainted by the idea that somebody is listening to it, and I don't want them to perceive me a certain way. I've stopped giving a fuck. Like, for example, so many people have been like, your bleached hair is gay, and I just don't care anymore. Or I'll, like, censor myself based on who I'm around. Not like when I'm around kids, I won't cuss. Not like that, but, like, I won't say certain things that are true to myself just because the people that I'm around, because I don't want to get judged. But at this point, and right now when I'm recording it, I will always be honest, because I think the world needs more honesty. Okay? Just be honest with one another. Even sometimes honesty can suck. Sometimes honesty is the hard route, but it's the best route. Telling somebody how you actually feel is so much better than hiding it. Like, if you don't like somebody, if you want them to fuck off, tell them. Be honest. Just say, like, I'm not interested in hanging out. You don't have to be a dick about it. Just be honest. Like, you can still be a nice person when you say it, but say what you're actually feeling instead of hiding it or lying, because that does no good for anybody. Alright, I'm going to wrap it up there. That's about it. Just remember, be honest with one another, and live your life. Cash happy checks, and count your blessings.